My name is Allison Chapman. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a transgender activist, a national LGBTQ plus legislative researcher, and a proud parent to a gender fluid kid. I wanted to start by thanking all the senators who have sponsored this amendment. Protecting trans kids puts you under direct fire from right-wing extremists and can compromise your personal safety. That is something I know all too well as a transgender activist. Yet, you are here today because you know and understand that military families need our full support, including those that lovingly support their transgender and non-binary children in getting the health care they need. That is why we must secure the votes to strike out Section 708 of the NDAA, which would remove coverage for treatments if and only if they were prescribed to treat gender dysphoria. This is state-sponsored discrimination, and we cannot allow it to become law. To the families affected by this poison pill provision, I'm sorry that it's gotten to this point. Your child and family should never have to worry about health care. To the trans kids listening today and seeing politicians debate your right to exist, I want you to know that I will always be here fighting for you. You are loved. You are beautiful. You matter to me and so many others. One thing I have learned in the past few years of being an activist is that our joy always shines through, no matter how dark the world gets. As a transgender person myself and a parent to a gender fluid child, I know how it feels to have my own rights and my parental rights under attack. I know the fear that those parents and caregivers feel, the worry that my child will not be able to get the medical care they need to survive. It's the kind of worry that keeps you up at night, the thought that goes through your head every time you see a headline. I constantly wonder if I will be able to call the United States my home forever, or if I will be forced to leave this country to seek health care for myself or my children. Imagine being a military parent, serving our country while knowing your child is back home in a state where their life-saving medical care is illegal. Our service members cannot just pack up and move to another state. They must bloom where our government plants them. We are grateful for their sacrifice, and we must show that gratitude through policies that defend their basic rights. As a researcher on national anti-LGBTQ plus legislation, I have tracked the exponential increase in devastating attacks on my community. Politicians do not realize the tremendous harm it does to young people to even introduce a bill with anti-LGBTQ plus provisions, let alone pass it. Studies have shown that the onslaught of anti-transgender laws and the resulting discrimination increases transgender youth suicidality by 72%. Further research confirms what the families here already know all too well. These laws have devastating and compounding effects on military youth, who often have to move state to state and rely most on the consistency of federal health care. I want to take a minute to acknowledge that these attacks didn't come out of nowhere. For the past 3 years, myself and other activists have been monitoring and fighting against anti-transgender laws in states across the country. Since 2020, we have seen over 2,000 anti-LGBTQ plus bills introduced in state legislatures across the country, with 200 of those being enacted into law. Gender-affirming care for minors is banned in 26 states, and kids are dying from it. As a child, I always knew I was trans. I didn't have the words to explain how I felt, but I knew I was a girl. Due to the lack of acceptance, I buried these feelings for many years. When I turned 18, I entered a period of extreme depression, including suicidality. At age 20, I was given antidepressants, and they helped some, but I still felt like a shell of a human. I was just someone going through the motions of life. Coming out and transitioning has made my body feel like home. It's given me something to live for and something to fight for. I'm here today because I was able to receive gender-affirming healthcare. Before voting on this bill, please take a moment to speak to me, one of my colleagues, or a family that is going to be affected by this provision. Consider the lives of the estimated 6,000 to 7,000 transgender children of service members that are going to have their lives changed forever. Our brave service members are willing to sacrifice their lives for this country. Don't force them to sacrifice their children as well. Thank you.